This building right here is one of the most strange structures in the entire city of Los Angeles. Maybe one day we'll come back here and do a video about it, but all I'll say is this is a very, very, very strange building right over here. Okay guys, you know the deal. I'm Lamont at large. Today we're walking down Avenue of the Stars here in Century City. We're on the border with Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, stuff like that. We're gonna talk today about this guy right here. His name is Jon-Erik. Some would say the most beautiful dead Hollywood has ever known. A very, very sad, strange, weird, and tragic story about a very well-respected and seemingly nice guy, one actor whose career never got a chance to take off because, well, he accidentally shot himself. And you know, the theory of why he did it or what he was thinking, who really knows? Most of us weren't there. I'll explain a little bit of the backstory of who he was and what happened. Without further ado, let's take a walk. Jon-Erik was born on November 5th, 1957 in New Jersey. He was raised by a single parent, a mom, along with his older brother. And as a kid, I'm assuming his mother wanted him to learn the arts, if you will, the music arts. She had a piano that he would learn to play as a child. And she's just trying to bring a little bit of societal culture into her children's lives. Now, after John went ahead and graduated from high school, he moved out to Ohio. He went to Case Western Reserve University. He's studying biomedical engineering. Now, I'm not exactly sure what field of work he was wanting to get into, but later on, he would transfer to Michigan State University, and over there, he would get a bachelor's in political philosophy. So while he was at Michigan State University, he played football there for the Spartans. Now, he wasn't on the football team as a starter. No, he was more of the bench player, role player, special teams player, practice squad player, and he would also wrestle at the university as well. I don't know if he was on the wrestling team or he just kind of wrestled with the guys. And he did a couple plays at Michigan. And so he's doing this, and you know, he's wanting to become an actor. When he was a child, he would take singing and dancing lessons, and reportedly, John had a very good singing voice.
1, 2, 3, 4. School was built about 4 years ago here. The backs and the fronts and the walls leak when it rains. And here is where we spent 4 years of our lives in Denmark.
Very, very nice speaking voice.
Are you a hunk? I'm serious.
I suppose they define hunk very loosely around here. You know, the magazines, for the most part, I think the word hunk and beefcake is an excuse to put a whole bunch of guys in a magazine and put them on the cover and get people to buy the magazine.
That image was reinforced somewhat by the publishing of a poster by Jon-Erik, which has sold about 100,000 copies to date. He says he hasn't worked on a hunk image for Hollywood. His build comes from athletics. In college, he played football for Michigan State and dove competitively in the NCAA. He still works out at the University of Southern California with spectacular dives like this off the 10-meter platform.
You don't hear guys like that really talk that way anymore. usually guys that have like kind of like a regular voice or what have you. I mean, good looking guy to say the least. I mean, this is a guy that other guys, you know, you don't got to be gay to look at this guy and say, wow, this is a very good looking guy. And I'm pretty sure he was, you know, popular with the ladies. And so after he graduates school, like within 2 days, he moves back home briefly. And then he would venture out to New York City. And in New York City, he is trying to be an actor. Now, I'm not gonna go too deep into what he did in New York. He's working odd jobs. He's working as a waiter over here. He's working as a bartender over there. He's doing odd jobs. Maybe he would work as a roofer for 1 or 2 weekends here and there. He's just a young man that does not come from a rich family, and they're not gonna pay his way, so he's gotta work. And you know, you would try to get some parts in some Broadway plays. He did do some regional stuff up in upstate New York. Has anybody heard of the Merry-Go-Round Playhouse? If you haven't, that is the place where Jon-Erik Hexum performed the lead role in The Unsinkable Molly Brown. And he also played some smaller roles in some other plays, Guys and Dolls, anybody? And of course, Pirates and Peasants. Now, I'm not sure how John was discovered in hindsight. It's probably because he's very good looking. So one day, this guy, his name is Bob Lamont. And Bob Lamont is a very famous Hollywood talent manager / scout. And of course, he would have an agency with a woman named Lois Zetter, and then they had the Lamont Zetter talent management agency company thing. So he's talking to Bob Lamont, and Bob's like, hey, listen, guy, I know you're trying to get into some Broadway plays and stuff like that, but what you really want to do is you want to go out to Los Angeles because you got a very nice look. You're very well spoken. You got a nice voice. I mean, maybe you can get some kind of voice over roles or what have you, but your place isn't here. You got to go to Los Angeles. If I were you, I would go to Los Angeles. And of course, Bob Lamont, for a time, he's the one that discovered John Travolta when he was a teenager. He was on some off-Broadway play. And he would manage John Travolta's career all the way through Saturday Night Fever, up until about Grease. And then after that, I guess he found a better deal somewhere else. So John packs up his bags and hits the trail. He gets to sunny Southern California right here. And now, I don't know if Bob gave him some, a little bit of help. Maybe he greased the wheel. I really don't know. Or maybe it was just his ruggedly handsome looks, the way he spoke. Whatever the case might be, Jon-Erik Hexum was definitely on his way to becoming a huge star. So John comes out here and he starts going to auditions. So he gets an audition for it's either a TV movie or a TV show. I believe it was a movie called Summer Lovers. And he read for the part and he has a good feeling. He says, I think I'm gonna get this part. No, you didn't. No, Peter Gallagher won that part. But that's okay. You gotta have a stiff upper lip, like AC/DC says. And so he would later get a part, win the part, and get the starring role in the movie Voyagers. It's actually not a movie, it's a TV show. I keep thinking of Star Trek Deep Voyager, or whatever that movie or that TV show was. Okay, so he gets the lead role on Voyagers. Now, when I was, looking this story up, I said that's so funny because Voyagers, it's 1984, and Voyagers was on, I believe, NBC. And I was talking to my sister because I was telling her I was doing this video, and she says, oh yeah, we used to watch Voyagers as kids. And I said, I thought I did, because when I was watching that part where they were like flying through space or what have you, I said, I've watched this show before. And she's like, yeah, we'd watch it as kids because we didn't have cable. I don't even think cable was barely a thing then. And of course, we're poor. We're not going to be able to afford to watch cable TV. That's a luxury for the upper class people that live in West Hollywood. So he has this show. So the show is this guy with this little kid as a sidekick, and they travel through time, like making sure like time goes according to plan. A really cool show. It kind of teaches you history as you know they travel through different time periods. And it only lasted one season because I guess they had moved the show from one time slot to go up against 60 Minutes, which is a stupid idea. I mean, if you have a show, and I don't know, I'm not into TV, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about, but why would you want to put up a show that actually has a clever focus against something that's been around for years and years and years? I don't know. So the show is canceled, and okay, all right, well, you know, at least he's on TV, so now, you know, and he got paid. He was making about 10 grand a week, so he's making some money, so he's got some money put away. He's like, all right, now I'm sure there's going to be another opportunity for Jon-Erik Hexum. So he would practically become an overnight star when he starred in the TV movie Making of a Male Model, starring Joan Collins. This movie, you know, that was back in the days when, you know, TV movies were a major thing. It was a big thing. I don't know if they still are now. And, you know, you got an older woman, a younger man, and next thing you know, he's the next big thing here in Los Angeles. And because of that TV movie, he started getting offerings of different roles and stuff like that. He would also get a role, not a starring role, but a pretty big role in the 1984 movie The Bear, which I think we're going to be doing a video about that story once we get back to other places other than Los Angeles. So because of this movie, now maybe he could be a little bit more choosy on what he accepts, because they see him now in a more, you know, serious role on that movie. And later on, he would be offered the starring role in a TV show that they're planning on, you know, making. And that show it's called The Coverup, starring him and Jennifer O'Neill. See, The Coverup is about a CIA operative who poses as a male model. He's like a Green Beret, but kind of silly. Things don't always go according to plan. And so, you know, they're playing on his looks, right? Hey, take the job. Now, there's only one problem with this TV show. The critics hate it. It's being panned. They're writing scathing reviews. The show is horrible. And when you're a new actor or actress and you're, you know, opening up the Hollywood Reporter or Variety, and, you know, you film the first couple episodes and they're panning this TV show, they're saying, oh, this is horrible. The stunt work is terrible. This script is horrendous. The premise is stupid. So they're just, you know, giving him a verbal tongue lashing, and it is tanking in the ratings. That is not something that you want to have on your resume. Now, he has The Bear, which is, you know, a good movie from what I've read. You have Making a Male Model, which is like almost has been a cultural phenomenon. Maybe that's not the proper description I should be using. I'm doing these videos on the cuff. What am I supposed to do? I don't have a script. But it's a popular TV movie is what I'm saying. But you have The Voyagers, which, again, I watched an episode on YouTube. It's a cool idea. I think they should really consider bringing that back. Some say that that show was a precursor for Quantum Leap. Give me Sliders all day long. Well, the burgers too, but definitely the TV show. I loved that show when I was a kid. Sliders. Does anybody remember that? That's the best time traveling show I've ever seen. Anyways, so he has Voyagers, which, you know, failed after one season. And then now he has this. So now he's going to have 2 shows that are going to be canceled within the first season. And he is not liking this. And, you know, during the filming of the 7th episode, he's not in the best of mood. It's October 12th, 1984. And Jon-Erik Hexum, he's at the 20th Century Fox Studios here in Century City. And on that particular day, it has been a long day filming the 7th episode of Coverup. And, well, John is a little bit agitated. He's frustrated. One of the reasons why he's frustrated is because there's a particular scene on the TV show, and the director is having to retake it over and over and over and over again. And he's also agitated because he's supposed to be meeting up with his girlfriend, who he was dating at the time, E.G. Daily. He's supposed to be meeting up with her in Las Vegas because she's doing some TV show or another. And, you know, oh, that doesn't look good. Let's retake the scene again. And he just wants to be done with it. This is a failing show. Everyone's making fun of it. And he just wants to be done with it. So he's in one of these lots, one of these areas where they're filming this story of the TV show. Now, in this particular scene, he has a .44 caliber Magnum revolver, but it's loaded with blanks. Now, this is the part of the story that I don't think we'll ever truly know what happens, because different people have a different story, slightly different on what exactly happened. But, you know, it's very, very boring, and he's very, 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 very frustrated. And he just wants to go. He wants to get on the plane, and he wants to get the hell out of here. And I don't blame him, because, you know, if I were on set for 10, 12 hours, I would be getting a little bit anxious as well. So he has this gun, and in between takes, he's just carrying it, he's looking at it, and according to an eyewitness, and again, this is something, I don't know if this is true or not, but he takes all of the blanks out of the gun, and he just has one dummy round in there. And supposedly someone said, he said, quote, "Let's see if I got one for me." He puts the, and I don't know why in the hell he did this. He puts the gun against his head and he pulls the trigger. Now, the dummy round still works like a regular gun. It does not have the tip, but the shell casing remains. So the blast, because that's a pretty powerful gun, the blast of the gun alone fractures the side of his head, shattering his skull, and the fractured skull fragments push into his brain. This guy falls down to the ground instantly, and someone starts screaming, and they're calling for medics. This guy has a nasty, nasty wound on the side of his head, and the ambulance would come pick him up, and they would take him to the Beverly Hills Medical Center, which is not too far from where I'm currently standing at right now.
I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. We're on a few minutes early tonight because of programming irregularities after the World Series. Topping the news tonight, motion picture and television star Jon-Erik Hexum is in critical condition tonight, a victim of a freak accident. Phil Schumann is standing by live at the Beverly Hills Medical Center. He has the latest for us. Phil?
Well, what happened is that Jon-Erik Hexum accidentally wounded himself in the head when he fired a gun loaded with blanks on the set of his television series Close-Up. We're at the Beverly Hills Medical Center, about a mile, less than a mile, in fact, from the 20th Century Fox TV studios where the accident happened about 5:15 this afternoon. Hexum is in surgery right now. He is in critical condition with some type of a wound to his head. Very little detail has been released about exactly how this accident has happened, but we have talked with the hospital people and the television folks here, and we've been able to piece together an account of this accident. Let's take a look at that story now.
This is the location where that reporter was standing when Jon-Erik Hexum accidentally shot himself. This is 1177 Beverly Drive. This used to be the location where the Beverly Hills Medical Center used to be. Now it is a hotel. And this is where Jon-Erik Hexum stayed in a coma for about 5 days until, sadly, they told his family he was brain dead. There was nothing that they can do. The skull fragment had done so much damage from the blast from that gun that he just bled out. There was absolutely nothing that could be done. So when the family decided to pull the plug, they took his body from this location and they flew him up to the Bay Area to a hospital to have his organs donated to recipients who were in desperate need of them. And on October 18th, 1984, one Jon-Erik Hexum, a man who truly did not get a chance to really make much of a mark that he could have in Hollywood, sadly died by his own hand. Jon-Erik Hexum was flown from the Beverly Hills Medical Center up to a hospital in San Francisco because there was a team of surgeons there waiting for him to harvest his organs. And his organs were donated by his family, and they were used for a 3-year-old boy who had suffered some terrible burns in a fire. So some of John's skin was used for those skin grafts. His corneas were taken, pretty much everything, including his heart that was waiting for a man who was waiting for a heart transplant. The man was told originally that he was going to receive the heart from a 19-year-old accident victim. He didn't know he received John's heart until after the surgery was complete. He was actually very surprised. He only had a 60% chance of surviving the surgery, but he did. And John's ashes, from what I remember, were scattered somewhere possibly. I don't remember off the top of my head. But all that is left, emblazoned with his name, is this little plaque right here. Forever in the hearts of your friends and fans. And amongst the other names here at the Wall of Remembrance at the Valhalla Cemetery. Some would say Hollywood's most beautiful death. I feel in my stories we can learn sometimes one thing or another, and I cannot stress this enough. A terrible accident that happened in this video. Guys, remember, firearms are not a toy. That is not something that should be played with. It's a very, very serious tool that is used in defense of one person's life. And mishandling of said firearm cost a very young actor his life. Just be safe when it comes to firearms. Lamont at large, I'm out of here. Valhalla Cemetery. See you on the next video. Peace out.